Hi, my name is Juliana Dominguez, and although I study history, hopefully graduating in the upcoming year, I want to teach social science in high school. Starting with the first portion of the video, I'm Mexican American. I grew up in Mexico. I was born here, but I grew up in Mexico. I've lived a great portion of my life in Mexico, and therefore I identify as Hispanic. I also identify technically as a first gen because although I'm not first gen, I'm one of the first people in my family to go to college, and I will be the first person in my family to get a degree in college. That being said, I will dive into the next part, which is why I want to be a teacher. If you ask me at a superficial level why I want to be a teacher, I will tell you that it's because I want to make a change. Historically, underrepresented communities have had literacy rates that are not comparable to other races because of systematic injustices. And although we have tried to tackle these issues and we have tried to improve the systems through so many ways, and we have made very much improvement in the last 50-20 years, let's say, there is still many things that we can fix. We all deserve to have an opportunity when it comes to bettering our life through education. So I want to play a role in this, make history, because I'm a history major and I like history, and because I can. But if you were to ask me at a deeper personal level why I want to be a teacher, I will tell you that it is because I hated the great majority of my teachers. I got to the United States when I was 12 in 2017, and I started going to junior high, and I realized that a lot of the teachers that teach us because they chose it as a backup career or as a safety net. And maybe it was because they didn't like the life of working in a cubicle. Maybe it was because they had the I learned this so I can teach it mentality. I think the teachers who didn't learn sustaining approaches or culture sustaining approaches, for example, or pedagogical approaches to teaching are contributing to the failing education system in the United States, which is a huge issue right now. So I personally want to have a say or change this system that is failing. I can't tolerate teachers who would rather have students memorize things rather than comprehend things. So it's one of the main factors that encourages me to want to change the system and become a teacher. The things that I value are many. For example, education, commitment, compassion, integrity. I value independence. But of course, all of these things you can't achieve. You can. It's going to be really hard. But most of the people won't achieve it on their own. They need some sort of guidance. They need support. They need someone to be there at least to hold them by the hand if they need that kind of support. And me as a teacher who already has gone through this, or who can provide the support, I will be more than happy to do so. And I have to read this because I can't, it's like a tongue twister. The California Teachers Performative Expectation asks for students to be actively engaging when learning. And I plan to do this through engaging material, through for example, targeted lessons. And I will teach them things like critical thinking or the mechanics of writing, things like that. And of course, using tools like the TPEs, right? Like TPE number 1, where I observe, get feedback, change my teaching, and apply it to students so I can better meet their needs. Or TPE number 3, which is more subject specific, where I teach them how to properly find and use primary and secondary sources, which is a skill that you can use in many other subjects in your personal life as well. Then the next part of the video is what is something that I want to become proficient in, and it's direct observation. This way I can better assist more efficiently, faster, and accurately tell what my students need of me for them to improve and continue learning. I learned during the class dialogue in many majors where there are many students, and I think that is something that we all have had in common, regardless of when we went to school, when we had a bad teacher. And I think that, again, the teachers who chose teaching as a safety net or don't really teach because they like teaching are a big problem. And I'm not saying that it's not something that you can learn or that it's something that you're born with, because you can learn it. It's more of like a disposition that you have to have before you're able to work with kids. And that's not only kids, like this is all the pedagogical approaches and sustaining of classrooms and whatever, all of that is applicable in any sort of learning, even if it's in college. So I think it's something that a lot of professors and teachers have to look into. Something I'm very passionate about. And then the next portion is, what is my goal? So my goal as a teacher is, of course, to make a change, to be remembered, but not to be remembered in the way of like, Miss Dominguez taught me how to unfog my car. No, in the way of Ms. Dominguez taught me this. I learned this. I learned how to apply it. I comprehend this. I understand this in a way in which I can teach it. It doesn't mean I'm teaching it, but it means I know how to use this tool / skill to my advantage in multiple situations. The next portion is what I hope to learn from this course. I hope to learn how to adapt to the challenges of a real classroom. Lecture and reading are so much more different than the classroom, and it's scary. So I hope that my mentors are able to guide me through a real classroom, and that I'm able to learn this adaptability once it's my turn to be in the classroom. And then lastly, what my dream classroom is. So I imagine building a safe, my nurturing, challenging, and memorable classroom. That being said, thank you for listening to my rant, my bitter grudge against the education system.